Salve, salve, guys. Só pra explicar pra vocês o que aconteceu rapidinho, essa foi uma partida, foi uma virada completamente insana. A gente tava com uns problemas no servidor do jogo, tá? Por isso que vocês vão ver tanto lag na partida de Surve, né? Que a gente jogou contra o Churra, o killer da Valkyrie. E depois disso, a gente ainda teve uma desconexão. A internet do Suri acabou caindo, então os Survivors jogaram um absurdo, não desistiram nem um segundo. E fiquem com o vídeo, pra não enrolar muito aqui. É nóis.
Welcome into the suffocation pit, first of the scrims between Affliction and Valkyrie here. The Plague coming out on her new old home map, we could call it. Going to be a very, very interesting game here. A lot of tactics needed by the Survivor team, and we do have a very, very dangerous generator spawn there on the top side. That's a very beautiful setup there with the 4 generators very tight to the main building, and then one in the midsection. Seems like our Plague is just enjoying the view from the main building here real quick. We also have a corrupt intervention, so these generators are perfectly hidden there or blocked for the moment. We do also have a corrupt pool here at the top side the Plague can use for her power, so that's going to be another very, very nice resource here for our killers. So this looks like going to be a very, very difficult game, Mathis.
Yeah, as you've already summarized it quite well, I see a 1, 2, 3, and I see 4 and potential 5 with that corrupt generator next to water tower or logs. I didn't exactly say, look at that. Yeah, it's water tower, and we're already going to see El Churra already infecting every single generator. We see one survivor already being infected relatively early on. We also see one corrupt pool in the corner on the main building site with all of those generators nearby. If a single survivor manages to go down that corner, that is most likely going to be a 4K 2 generators. This is terrible, terrible RNG for our team Affliction here. Also want to point out that Kate is prestige 76. Want to calm down. So yeah, we are going to see our survivor trying to push to these generators now, but all of them are basically infected since the start, but they have now waited it out successfully. We are going to see our prestige 76 Kate in trace for at first here with the urban evasion, but so far not having taken much advantage of it. The Kate could just use urban evasion to crouch here behind the tile and avoid puke, but we are not going to see that being used just now. We see 3 survivors infected and fanatical and eruption and overcharge. That is going to be extremely powerful for our Plague, especially with a 4th on main building and a 5th generator not so far away. So this is incredibly cracked RNG for our Plague. Also with this hill facing to the water tower, so the survivors don't really have a safe haven in this area because the Plague can just walk on it, free line of sight on it for free, get free line of sight on it. Kate with a beautiful stun in the corner, but that is already going to be one filler removed. That is really important to play in this corner with all these generators still nearby. So any resource wasted on this side of the map here is going to be a huge setback for our survivor team.
Yeah, very, very, a very nice layout. I don't want to put too much pressure down here, but this is almost a layout where you have to guarantee a ton of stages, might even have to 4K, because otherwise people gonna look at you and be like, how could you let survivors escape here with this setup? We do see that the killer is a little bit laggy, we noticed that, ladies and gentlemen, but since this is a community night and just a scrim for fun and experience, there's no reason for us here to restart the match or anything like that. As long as the killer feels like he can play this, you're gonna have him play this out here. So community night, a place where you can try with your team. You can also bring your friends in. If you never played DBD before, feel free to join our Discord and be part of this community night next Friday with your team, or test your killer later on against our staff team. But back to the gameplay here. Taking care of the generators, dry kicking them time and time again. We do see an eruption and an overcharge that's going to help a little bit here, and trying for some snipes. That is not going to work against experienced survivors from Affliction, but
just died.
that's true. This is casting curse, kind of. Yeah, unfortunate disconnect there on the side of Affliction. Seems like the first game here has a little bit of technical difficulties, but the survivors will just carry on here, playing as 3 survivors. But yeah, now it's going to be even more horrible.
Yeah, this is, I mean, with that DC, I'm not too sure what's going to happen this game, but yeah, with that 3v1 now at 5 generators raining, that is unplayable for the survivors with a 5 gen on this. No! Okay, that is a spot that has hit several survivors in the past times. I was also saw an eye pick from the sequence here, and it's also happened to me a couple of times whenever I played on this map. But that's why I take really strong precautions there now and just hold my distance from that corner. But it seems like a mech has been swallowed whole by the hole, and that is extremely unfortunate for our survivor. Technically the first hook of the game, but well, technically the fourth stage, but officially first. But yeah, we're already going to see once again overcharge interrupt in combination, holding the 5 gen on this side of the map here. The survivors are not able to get back onto these generators, so overcharge will stack up to its maximum value, the 200% or the 300% regression at maximum value or maximum strength it should be, if I'm not completely mistaken. But we're going to see Jake once again injured as well, and that is all stacks of Thanatophobia. Well, actually, do stacks even count on DCs? I'm not even too sure. But we see our killer sniping on top of the hill. As I've already said at the start, that hill is turned in such a way that it's going to make our killer from Team Valkyrie so much stronger, because our Plague will get full line of sight across this area, and that is just one of the best RNGs we could have ever asked for. Of course, the only heal that would have even outperformed this RNG basically would be the one that is facing straight to Shaq. But it seems like Valkyrie's killer has not been blessed with 100% amazing RNG, just 99%. Very unfortunate. But we do see our one of our survivors here, I think that's a Jake. Yeah, the Jake on the generator here, Severa, or trying to remove at least the 5 gen that our Plague has, because that generator is sort of part of it. Of course, located quite far away. Now survivors, the only thing they really can do is get that gen done, and then the other two on the Shack side, and this survivor is going to die on hook. Every survivor is injured. They most likely don't have many pools left, because fortunately for them, one pool of corruption is here, so they would have one more pool of devotion on the other side that they can heal, that they can cure on. But yeah, that is finally going to be the 5th gen broken at least, but our Plague still has a death inside of 4 gen at 3 generators remaining, which is very soon going to be 2, so that this is going to be hardly possible for our survivors to salvage, sorry.
Yeah, I do like what the Survivor team is trying to do here, right? You have the unfortunate disconnect, you have this insane RNG you mentioned, and now taking the points you can get out of this trial here is probably the best choice, especially if Jay gets the another generator. There it is. 3 generators done, then you have at least a 6 point that kind of gives you access to play around RNG in the same way if you get it in the next trial. So I would say if they get 1 additional generator here with 2 people remaining, that would be a very, very insane work. Maybe they could also set someone up for the end game here. Since we have 2 fresh hooks remaining here, so that would be another option for Team Affliction here. So they're facing a very, very difficult situation right now. We still have the power on the Plague here, and one survivor is caught on this very unsafe tile, trying to puke to the window. That's not going to work. However, there's not much safety here as well. Just a tree, and our Jake is doing some beautiful movement and avoiding the power here time and time again. 3 pukes at this point, and the time is running down. If Jake would be able to survive this power, that would be really, really great for our survivor team. Kate, in the meanwhile, trying to contest the next generator, but has to pull back as the killer is now going back towards the top side here. We can still see the very, very dangerous RNG here, which the killer still has access to. Now a dry kick coming through as well, overcharge coming in, eruption coming in as well. So these 2 survivors with the back to the wall would be really, really surprised if they do get a 4th generator done, but they are fighting, they are trying. That's really, really nice to see here. Jake now unfortunately taking the infection, so he's going to be broken very, very soon. He might have a pool at the bottom side to cleanse himself one more time here. But the Plague is committing to him, confident that they can get... never mind, instantly going back towards the top side. I was saying, if this is like the few moments you get to act on a generator, you need to use them. We can see Kate constantly trying to do so, hiding here. So the idea from Affliction is there. The question is just, can they still perform it, and can they still pull it here in this difficult situation?
Yeah, this is really difficult to turn around. Yeah, I mean, basically impossible. The maximum our survivors could do is maybe pop one more gen, but the way these generators are positioned, that I don't see possible in any shape or form. Kate is the only survivor who can really do anything with that urban evasion, trying to stay out of line of sight as best as humanly possible. But the moment one of these survivors gets infected, I do believe that would use up all of the ports that are still available. So if the Jake takes the infection, then that would completely knock out that survivor, because of course you can't push injured into the 4 generators our killer still has. You see our Churra with incredible red line mind games here, but it seems like Jake just went for the distance on the T-wall. A very smart decision here. And our survivor will not end up being infected, so this might just push the gen pressure for Kate just enough. We see on main building the only generator that he can really avoid being puked at from afar, so that is definitely the smart choice. For the generator to work on, and also using once again that urban evasion to not leave any scratch marks and find the closest LOS blocker possible that our killer would most likely not chase, and choosing the wagons full of coal. So a very smart play by our Wand here, being able to avoid the plague. But now this is where Overcharge and Plague can be considered quite powerful, because that generator is of course going to stay infected, and one does end up being counted, however, but that generator stays infected. The Overcharge is going to build up to its maximum strength over time, and that generator is not going to lose its infection anytime soon. So Overcharge on Plague actually quite strong. One was able to outmaneuver the Plague here and just run ahead straight back to main building here. Wants to get back on this generator, doesn't want it to lose any progression, because that Overcharge is of course going to build up over time. And Plague now checking the logs here, but the crows or scratch marks should alert her that the survivor has retaken their position on the generator. So this is going to be extremely difficult for our survivors regardless, and I think once both survivors are infected and no crews are available, then of course Plague does lose the ability, but has the corrupt plague available on this side of the map here. But our Wand is going to greet the pallet, tries to stand still or hesitate on it for a mere second to make the Plague believe that he was going to go for the drop here, but El Churra with no hesitation whatsoever is going to swing straight through and is going to claim the hook in the backside of the main building here. And with Jake's location also having been or Plague being aware of the location of our Jake because of that eruption value that was not called out by Katie, because I think eruption has not had any value up until this very moment, so our survivors were not aware of the perk until just now. But our Plague now has a rough idea where that Jake was, but he's now of course going to most likely use edge map or maybe even stealth on the other side of the map here as Kate dies on hook, and he's gonna gamble for the hatch in the meantime. But depends on where the hatch offering is brought, either main or shack, probably shack because that's where most people set it. So Jake has to most likely stand nearby the savior, because our Plague is at the very least going to head on over to the hatch right before one dies on hook here. So Jake would have been able to save last second, but will now be spotted on next to the hook here on the coal wagons. Just gonna zone him away now, going to use the puke to make him get him injured very slowly, while staying back on the hook here. Doesn't want the Jake to slip past anyway. So, but Jake is just gonna head on over to the hill now, does have the balance landing available, and is just going to jump down to the other side of the map here most likely, and hoping to outrun the Plague until the hatch finally spawns to at least secure one-man escape against this 5-man.
Yeah, this is Jake now needs an absolute cranking end game. We do have a balanced landing there, so the hill could help a little bit, but the Plague must make a huge mistake here to give him all the distance. But we do see him going towards the bottom side. The Plague not guarding that side of the hill. Meanwhile, the survivor of the team is dying on hook, so this could actually be a last-second escape here, which would be a 10-point swing for our survivor team. Jake going around the corner here, and he's actually able to make that all the way, coming from such a horrible RNG. Then you take a disconnect. You play 3v1 with this insane RNG against you, and then your Jake is able to make it all the way to the shack and forcing a 10-point swing here. That's insane. Instead of a 28-6, we're gonna see a 21-9. So Affliction here making an end game play we haven't seen in such a long time. Really impressive. We talked in the mid game a little bit how much fight there was from Affliction, how they were still trying to set up the right idea, to sneak back towards the main building. Obviously, it was hard to get this idea into actual working out, because if you are 2v1 after the disconnect especially, then it's going to be really, really hard for you. But Affliction just carrying on with their mindset and their strength here, being an experienced team. We see them time and time in other tournaments as well, so they really proven us why they are known and what they can do, even if they are with the back to the wall here. So 9-21 in favor of Affliction, and we are going to set up the second trial here. Valkyrie is going to start on the killer side now. No, Affliction is going to be on the killer side now, and we're going to see you after a short break.
Saber. Tá. Eu vou lá pra cheque. Tem uma poça em cada lado. Não tinha cooldown pro hit. Meu Deus. Tem que jogar por esses 4 aqui de algum jeito, mano. Comitar o Dwight com o poder. Tá todo mundo aqui, eu garanto a morte do cara. Como que você passou tão rápido? Sim. Não pode Umber, acabou, né? Eu vou pegar mesmo assim, porque esse é o único de avançados. Eles vão se limpar na check. Aqui. O cara vai pegar esse Jogo? Espero que sim. Não pegou esse Struggle, um segundo. Tá que pariu. Será que o Dodge tá bem posicionado? Só tem uma palha já aqui pra ela. Salvou. O problema vai ser achar todo mundo agora. A Neo eu sei onde tá, mas e depois dos Slug... Sim, eu sei. Não, eu digo que o problema vai ser no mobilidade depois. Tá, o Dwight aqui... Eu vou só pegar quem eu tenho tracking, que é esse aqui e o Dwight. Fresh é a Meg. O Dwight morre? Não, né? O Dwight tá no segundo ainda. Eu vou... Como a hatch é check, eu vou só pegar o Dwight, que eu tenho info, e vou caçar a Meg depois. Aham. Se eles começarem a morrer, eu volto e fecho a hatch. Mas ela, eu deduzo que ela foi pra main, fundo 9, 8, sei lá. Deixa eu... Ela tá parada? Ah, eu vi a perninha dela ali. É isso, guys. Vocês fizeram uma boa, mano. Vocês buscaram. Eu não busquei, não, velho. É, e o Pentagen com DC e da Escape. Então. É isso, guys. Não, a gente merecia ganhar isso aqui depois da partida de vocês, sério mesmo. Vocês sofreram demais na partida de vocês, ó. Deu tudo errado. É isso, senhores.
Hello everybody and welcome back to now round number 2 of the revenge of Team Affliction's killer Phenom, now representing his team and wanting to exact revenge, as I've said it, as I've already stated it, against the survivor team of Valkyrie, after their killer Churra has just gotten a phenomenal 5-gen and was able to fork out 2 generators remaining, also due to a DC of one of the survivor players, most likely a game crash or an internet issue. I think it was one of the 2 at least. But we already see Phenom now patrolling the map here and trying to control the generators early on with his puke, not allowing the survivors to start any of these generators. But we already see our Meg Zevin being passively infected by tapping on these generators. Does not have balanced landing, is now fought out in the corner. Phenom comes back with a puke and potentially get a 1-shot down. Now gonna body block the window perfectly. Zevin not gonna be allowed to bolt it, does have the other window. Phenom's not gonna swing for it, does not have enough time for it. No amulet being used, unfortunate for Phenom. Now gonna have that thing, that Meg fully injured, but does have life to make more distance away from main building. However, Nancy's being caught out of position now, has already been infected as well, so Phenom is not gonna have to use that much puke. Is just gonna go for the M1 as that first generator already pops here. He had a 4-gen ready on this side of the map here as well. This is the only way he could have turned around the score from, turned the tides from the, or turned the tables even in the, from the previous game here, but Phenom just lost it. And now we have a 3-3 split, 2 3-gens on each side of the map here. So really, the size of Team of Valkyrie only have to pop all generators off one of these sides here, and that would already be their win.
Yeah, this is an insane work by the survivor team. Phenom not with a strong generator setup anymore.
Yeah.
Mentioned the 2 3-gens, but on suffocation pit you can get better, and Nancy is going to be downed here, but it was quite set up in this pallet here. Is there someone around to slap our killer in the face? No, it's not going to be the case. So the first hook stage coming in relatively early here. Not sure if we do want to go all the way towards the shack there. Instead it's going to be the hill hook, but a lot of pressure here on this generator as well. That's 1 additional generator right here. So 4 points for our survivor team already. Really strong work so far by the survivor team. They're really on point, and they know with the 10-point swing due to the hatch escape in the previous game, the win condition changed a little bit, and they definitely need to get all the generators done here. They even need to get some stages out of the door, if I'm not mistaken, so you need to be efficient, you need to be quick, but right now Valkyrie is definitely meeting up to the expectations we are setting down on Phenom here with the power now, heading down towards the bottom side, trying to tunnel the survivor, very likely trying to force the 3v1 as quick as possible. Nancy going into the shack there, trying to cleanse, making sure that she could take additional hits, but not having enough time. Oh, she does actually, she's sticking to it, even though the plague is close. So you do also give the plague access to another pool of corruption very soon here. You still have some seconds left on your power, going to be the classic mind games on the shack here. Dwight being caught as well, but this manages somehow to not take the hit here. How did he manage to work that out? Really strong, and Nancy is gone as well. Phenom losing the potential pressure here.
Noriel to a phenomenal juke there, being able to completely avoid the corrupt purge by our Plaguey there. No injured states granted, and up until now, of course, because of the passive infection gain. But we are now gonna be still at 3 generators left. The first 2 generators popped surprisingly quickly with the playstyle that Phenom was adapting to, trying to cross all over the map here, infecting all generators and getting 2 gen pops so early on. And another 2 are already past the 60% mark. One of them, well, actually 3, I think. I think that's 50, 60, and 70 already on 3 other generators here. So that is very impressive coming in from our survivor team of Valkyrie, because those generators are all that's left now. Phenom still has access to his ability, so Nancy needs to watch out on this tile as well. We already saw the live on the Quadet at the start of the game here, so that is not going to be used by our Nancy. Instead, oh, a beautiful double back here by our Nancy, not going to try and go for the other side. Tries to for VTech, but that is most likely not going to work against an experienced killer of the likes of Phenom here. You see the generator is fairly close to popping now from Noriati. We see a double up on this generator as well, because they only need one more generator from this point on if they want to decide this matchup for themselves due to that very unfortunate DT in the previous game. No, actually, we did have a hatch escape at the end, I just remembered as well. So they do, I believe, actually need to pop at least all 5 generators and potentially get an out too. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. But here we are. We're still going to see only 2 stages at 2 generators left here. Of course, Nancy is also dead on hook here, so the 2 stages on the same survivor are crucial at this point of the game. So Phenom manages to tunnel out Nancy and then, well, does not have a 3 gen anymore. But if he manages to hold the last 3 generators at least, then that could maybe turn the tables for Phenom in the end here, but he does have to 4K if he wants to finish this game successfully. I believe a hatch escape at 1 generator remaining would be fine if that's survivor. Yeah, well, that would definitely be fine, but it definitely needs to be all survivors. All survivors have to have been hooked for the extra bonus points from the fresh hooks every single time.
Yeah, very, very good work here so far from our survivor team. We really need to point out how efficient they are and how they are putting the pressure down here. Nancy trying to show herself, baiting potentially a little bit. And it is going to be now the chase once again. There's a Dwight here as well, so we're not playing the 1v1 event, guys. That is coming up in the weekend, so it is unfortunately going to be the down here for Awesome. And Dwight trying to go for the pallet save, not going to work out, and that's now a question for me. Why are you trying to be that risky? If so many things are working out for you, you are efficient on the generators. You have just 2 hook stages so far with 2 generators remaining. You have broken the 4-gen on the bottom side early on. So why would you go for the pallet save here? There was a very, very risky move. Yes, the survivor would be eliminated, but taking the 3v1 scenario and just hopping on a generator would have been the better choice here. So now we need to find a solution with our Nia and the Mac here, because Dwight is already going towards the hook here. The killer might, he is going to spot out this survivor right here, so that's going to be more information. The next survivor instantly going to be in a chase. This means the survivor that is currently sitting on a generator will be needed to go for the rescue here, so the gen pressure is going towards 0 here, and this is the big thing why every killer is trying to achieve the 3v1 scenario, because you will be able to completely cut down and shut down the survivor generator pressure, and he's beautifully able to do that. Phenom here with a very nice overview now, keeping the survivor pinpointed behind the shack there and taking an eye onto the generators here. Might even spot the Nia when she's trying to cross. That's going to be the case, so no access to the unhook either. So a lot of time being taken here from the survivor team in exchange for almost no gen pressure.
Yeah, and with that new meta that Phenom is depicting quite nicely here, or showing off quite nicely here, with that corruption and call, with the call of brine and eruption, that means that you are going to keep all of your players available until the very last stage of the game, or of course until the last generator has been popped, but it's at least until late game, because the previous meta used to usually focus, or in the previous meta players usually used to focus on hex perks, but of course after Rune has been basically the strength of it has been cut in half. Now with this perk loadout, you will always have all perks active basically, or usable until that last generator pops. So Phenom looking extremely good here after that huge throw by the survivor team, and that Phenom was fully capitalizing on. Now with 2 generators remaining still, but every survivor is injured, and he still has pools left, I do believe, but of course if there's no survivor has cured in the meantime, that means Phenom remains an M1 killer. But this late into the game here, most of the resources have already been used, as we see a survivor slumped on the ground now. 2 survivors are still standing, but both of them are injured, and this is looking like an extremely empty map from this point out. So this is going to be extremely difficult for our survivors to recover from. We see Noriato once again in place, tries to go for the slow, but Phenom just goes around the tile and sees him trying to play stealthily here. There is 2 survivors on the ground, and Nia is the last one standing. Only has access to Bella's landing, but I did see the hill just next to Shaq here, which our Nia needs to work towards. But the corner was held for too long. That is going to be the hit through the window, and Phenom actually, against all odds, manages to slug all survivors at 2 generators remaining. We need a fresh escape through the hatch here, otherwise this will be GG, and I don't think that Phenom will be able, or will not, I don't think Phenom will lose any of the survivors on the ground here, as he's just downed all of them. So I think he still has good recollection of where all these survivors are, especially since Noriato also hasn't moved here. From a very, very strong early game to that very unfortunate throw where they tried to save Nancy here. They could have just popped that pen ultimate generator and then 3v1 for the last one, but they decided to play more aggressively, did not want Nancy to leave the trial here. Beautiful spectator bug on that plague as well. So Zevon is the only survivor now left in the trial, and I don't think Phenom should have much difficulties finding the survivor, but the bleed out might be forced in the corner. Never mind, we see plague blinking straight on top of the Meg and picking off, and that is going to solidify the 4K at 2 generators remaining after that extremely poor early game that he's had to put up with.
Yeah, and I just need to pick up on the potential bleed out we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. We have actually introduced a new bleed out rule in DBD, in case you're not aware of that yet. If a survivor is bleeding out on the ground, the killer is not getting the full points, but at least he is getting 1 point per stage. So this reduces the penalty from minus, if we take a fresh hook, for example, it's reducing the penalty from -7 to -4. That's the first step we've taken to counter bleed outs a little bit. So just spreading that out there as an information in case we see any bleed outs today. That's going to be a very, very nicely done 37-27. Phenom the God I saw in chat there for a second, and this was indeed a very, very insane plague performance. Not with the best RNG compared to Trial 1 at least, losing the 4-gen early on, but still able to cut down the survivor team to 3 as quick as possible. So basically a tutorial of how to play the plague on the suffocation pit. Affliction and Valkyrie, thank you so much for being a part in the community night. We hope to see you again in the future, and therefore we are going to move on